May 17, 2024, News Report 1. On May 17, 2024, Russian President Putin continued his visit to China. He arrived in Harbin to attend the China-Russia Expo, accompanied by Chinese Vice President Han Zhang. Putin delivered a speech at the opening ceremony of the China-Russia Expo, stating that Russia and China are inseparable partners. He emphasized the need to promote economic growth, ensure energy security, and create new industries and high-paying jobs in both countries. Russia supports Chinese companies in setting up factories in Russia and is willing to provide preferential treatment to Chinese investors. Additionally, Putin laid flowers at the Soviet Red Army Martyrs Monument in Harbin, visited the St. Sophia Cathedral in Harbin, and met with faculty and students at Harbin Institute of Technology. However, Putin's gesture of laying flowers at the Soviet Red Army Martyrs Monument has sparked dissatisfaction among some people. In August 1945, the Soviet Red Army entered northeastern China and committed many atrocities within a short period, including killings, arson, looting, demolition of factories and facilities, and even dismantling the water supply system in Shenyang. At that time, Shenyang was one of the most advanced and developed cities in the Far East. Asia radio journalist A.I. Bo-mu said on May 16 that after visiting China, Putin may travel to North Korea from May 17 to 18. He suspects that Putin's trip is for arms deals with North Korean leader Kim Jong-un. South Korea's Chosun Ilbo quoted diplomatic sources as saying that the necessary conditions for Putin to visit North Korea have matured. We will continue to observe whether the leaders of these two countries will meet again. News Report 2. The U.S. Department of Defense issued a statement on May 16, stating that U.S. Assistant Secretary of Defense Ratner and Director of the International Military Cooperation Office of the Central Military Commission of the Communist Party of China, Li Bin, held a video conference that afternoon. The two sides had a sharp exchange of views. Ratner expressed serious concern about China's support for the Russian defense industry, reaffirmed the importance of maintaining peace and stability in the Taiwan Strait, and expressed concern about China's dangerous actions against Philippine vessels. The statement from the Department of Defense also pointed out that Li Bin criticized the U.S. for instigating proxies to create incidents in the South China Sea and stir up disputes. He also stated that the collusion between the U.S. and Taiwan militaries and the separatist actions of the Taiwan Independence Forces are the main reasons for destabilizing the Taiwan Strait. Furthermore, Li Bin pointed out that the U.S. deployment of intermediate-range missiles in the Asia-Pacific region seriously threatens regional security, warning that if the U.S. acts recklessly, it will be met with resolute countermeasures from China. It is worth noting that in April this year, the U.S. deployed the THAAD intermediate-range missile system in northern Luzon, the Philippines, marking the first time since the Cold War that the U.S. has deployed an intermediate-range missile system in Asia. The THAAD system can launch Tomahawk cruise missiles and Trident ballistic missiles, with a range of up to 2,500 kilometers, covering the entire eastern China region. News Report 3. The South Korean Joint Chiefs of Staff announced that on May 17, North Korea launched several short-range missiles from Gangwon Province into the Eastern Sea. The South Korean military immediately detected the situation after the missile launch and conducted tracking and monitoring. South Korea shared relevant intelligence with the United States and Japan. South Korean media believe that North Korea has restarted its provocative behavior with the support of China and Russia. The day before North Korea launched the missiles, on May 16, the Chinese and Russian leaders held talks in Beijing and issued a joint statement opposing the U.S. and its allies' provocation of North Korea. On May 17, the Korean Central News Agency published a series of editorials criticizing the joint U.S.-South Korea military exercises, which not only threaten North Korea but also pose a danger to China and Russia, further exacerbating regional tensions. News Report 4. According to Yonhap News Agency, the China-Korea Economic Ministers meeting was held via video on May 16, during which the two sides discussed cooperation plans on key raw materials, mineral supply chains, etc. This was the second economic ministers' meeting between the two sides since August 2022, and the meeting lasted for an hour and a half. South Korean Deputy Prime Minister Choi Sang-mook and Chinese National Development and Reform Commission Director Zheng Shanjie co-chaired the meeting. Choi said at the meeting that China and South Korea should strive to enhance the resilience and flexibility of the supply chain, not only to expand the depth and breadth of cooperation but also to continuously strengthen cooperation in the supply chain field. Zheng Shanjie said that South Korea and China are inseparable neighbors with strong complementarity in emerging fields. To ensure the stability of the supply chain in these areas, cooperation needs to be deepened. Recent operations indicate that South Korea is improving its relationship with China. South Korean Foreign Minister Chung Eui-yong visited China this week and met with Chinese Foreign Minister Wang Yi. The trilateral summit between China, Japan, and South Korea, hosted by South Korea, will be held in Seoul at the end of the month. Yonhap news agency analysis pointed out that South Korea is an export-oriented economy highly dependent on external markets, especially China, its largest trading partner. Against the backdrop of escalating U.S.-China confrontation, South Korea faces significant risks and security threats from North Korea. South Korea relies on U.S. protection militarily, but economically, the Chinese market is crucial. In the past, South Korea's strategy was to cooperate with China economically and rely on the U.S. for security. However, with the escalation of U.S.-China confrontation, this strategy has become increasingly unsustainable. South Korean President Yoon Suk-yeol was once inclined towards the U.S., but now he is adjusting, trying to improve relations with China. This reflects the significant influence of national interests on foreign policy. News Report 5. Reuters reported that since December 2023, the Taiwanese Ministry of National Defense has discovered more than 100 balloons from China flying over the Taiwan Strait. The ministry stated that the appearance of these balloons is irregular, sometimes with 8 balloons found in a day, while at other times, no balloons are seen for several weeks. In the week before the January 13 election, an average of 3 balloons appeared each day, but since April 11, these balloons have not been seen. The flying altitude of these balloons is lower than that of meteorological balloons, which experts consider a significant problem. It could be that the People's Liberation Army, PLA, is using these balloons to collect information, or it could be a psychological tactic. Officials from the Taiwanese Ministry of National Defense pointed out that China is adopting a gray zone warfare strategy to avoid direct conflict while exerting pressure on Taiwan. This tactic, known as unconventional warfare, aims to deplete Taiwan's resources by continuously harassing it without triggering a conflict. Experts believe that these balloons may not collect much information, and their frequent appearance may be due to China working on a certain project. After the project is completed, the balloons may no longer appear. A deputy researcher at the Taiwan National Policy Foundation stated that as the inauguration of President Lai Ching-te on May 20 approaches, the PLA has increased military pressure on Taiwan. The pressure from the PLA has taken 3 new forms. First, military aircraft intentionally approaching Taiwan's land. On April 27, PLA aircraft were only 37 nautical miles from Keelung, and on May 13, 4 aircraft were only 39 nautical miles from Cape Eluanbai. Second, there is a routine deployment of more warships around Taiwan. Third, joint patrols of aircraft and warships have become routine and practical. These new forms of pressure demonstrate the PLA's increased military pressure on Taiwan and its provocations and displays of power in various aspects. News Report 6. May 17 was the last working day of President Tsai Ing-wen's term in office in Taiwan. The presidential office held a farewell party for Tsai Ing-wen. At the party, Tsai Ing-wen stated that over the past 8 years, she and her team have created many firsts for Taiwan and have jointly written history with the people of Taiwan, promoting the overall development of the country. She emphasized that she has left a better future for Taiwan and expressed her commitment to continue to stand shoulder to shoulder with the people of Taiwan in the future, albeit in a different role. Tsai Ing-wen said at the farewell party that if she were to leave a sentence for Taiwan, she hoped that Taiwan could unite. She believes that under the leadership of Lai Ching-te and Siya Mei-chin, Taiwan will surely achieve more proud achievements. In addition, it was reported that on May 17, the Taiwan Stock Exchange weighted index closed at 21,258 points, an increase of 1.62 times compared to 8,095 points when Tsai Ing-wen took office. On the other hand, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs of Taiwan stated that 51 visiting groups and 508 foreign guests are ready to attend the inauguration ceremony of President Lai Ching-te on May 20. Since the presidential election in January, 73 visiting groups and 687 people have visited Taiwan to congratulate Lai Ching-te and Siya Mei-chin. News Report 7. Bloomberg reported that the U.S. House Committee on Science, Space, and Technology is investigating Huawei's funding of research at American universities. According to Bloomberg's report on May 20, Huawei has secretly funded cutting-edge research at Harvard and other American universities through the Washington Optical Society. The Optical Society is a non-profit professional association whose members are primarily optical experts, and optics plays a fundamental role in communication, biomedicine, and laser technology. Huawei's funding for the Optical Society amounts to millions of dollars, and 3 scholars who received Huawei funding are associated with U.S. government agencies. In addition, Huawei has exclusively sponsored cutting-edge technology competitions organized by the Optical Society. Since its establishment in 2022, the competition has awarded millions of dollars in prizes, attracting scientists from around the world to submit hundreds of research reports, including from top American universities. However, American universities prohibit researchers from cooperating with Huawei. On May 16, Chairman Lucas of the House Committee on Science, Space, and Technology wrote to the CEO of the Optical Society, criticizing the society for secretly accepting Huawei's funding without informing the public and the scholars receiving the funding, violating the policy of research free from foreign interference and causing U.S. research institutions to violate the law. It is reported that Huawei has sponsored more than 1,200 innovative research projects worldwide, involving more than 300 universities in more than 20 countries, including 2 Nobel Prize winners, more than 100 academicians, and thousands of experts and scholars. Some believe that Huawei's actions have little actual effect. Some point out that Huawei's actions are more to demonstrate its capabilities to the government in order to gain more policies and benefits. However, when the U.S. cut off chip supplies, Huawei appeared to be helpless. If these research results could really be used by Huawei, then its numerous research centers and laboratories around the world should be able to produce more substantial technological results, but in reality, there have been no significant results. This behavior seems more like a showcase to deceive the outside world. News Report 8. The National Bureau of Statistics announced on May 17 that China's industrial value added above a designated size increased by 6.7% year-on-year in April, and the total retail sales of consumer goods reached 3.56 trillion yuan, up 2.3%. The national urban unemployment rate was 5%, a decrease of 0.2 percentage points, and the unemployment rate in 31 large and medium-sized cities was also 5%. However, some people have expressed doubts about these data. In addition, the data shows that the National Consumer Price Index, CPI, rose by 0.3% year-on-year in April, compared with a rise of 0.1% in the previous month. Some people question the accuracy of these data, believing that these numbers may be the result of artificial adjustments rather than genuine statistics. News Report 9. The High Court of Hong Kong announced on May 17 that the bankruptcy case of Country Garden will be postponed to a trial on June 11. The reason for the delay is to allow both parties to prepare more evidence. This extension was first proposed by Country Garden's lawyers, who requested that the trial be postponed until the end of July. The lawyer representing the liquidator, Jinhao Group, agreed, but Judge Yip Shu-pui only agreed to postpone the trial to June 11. In February of this year, Jinhao Group filed a bankruptcy application with the High Court, seeking to recover 1.6 billion Hong Kong dollars in loans and interest. In October of last year, Country Garden failed to repay a $15 million bond, officially defaulting. As of the end of June last year, Country Garden's total debt amounted to 1.36 trillion Hong Kong dollars. The bankruptcy case of Country Garden has been postponed from the beginning, and it is currently unclear whether it will continue to be postponed in the future or whether there will be changes in policy. News Report 10. According to Nikkei News, GAC Honda is withdrawing from the Chinese market and has started to lay off employees. GAC Honda is a joint venture between Japan's Honda and GAC Group, established in 1998. The report states that GAC Honda has been soliciting voluntary resignations from employees since May, and currently, 1,700 people have applied, accounting for 14% of the total number of employees. This marks Honda's 25th year in China, and Chinese law provides compensation and re-employment support for employees. Honda plans to sell 1.06 million vehicles in the 2024 fiscal year, a year-on-year decrease of 13%, compared to a 40% decrease from 2020. Honda is also considering a 30% reduction in Chinese production capacity and plans to reduce factory operating days in June. According to data from the China Association of Automobile Manufacturers, Japanese cars accounted for 23% of the market share in 2020, which dropped to 12.2% from January to April 2024. In April this year, Honda's sales decreased by 22.2% year-on-year, Toyota decreased by 27%, and Nissan decreased by 10%. The high cost and low returns of the Chinese market have led Japanese car manufacturers to gradually shift their investment focus to other markets. News Report 11. The Japanese Ministry of Agriculture, Forestry, and Fisheries stated that drinking energy drinks and alcohol together can be harmful. Energy drinks contain a large amount of caffeine, and excessive intake can lead to excessive stimulation of the central nervous system, resulting in dizziness, palpitations, tremors, insomnia, and other effects. Recently, some people have mixed energy drinks into common alcoholic beverages to create so-called immortal special drinks, and there are also YouTube videos teaching people how to mix them. The Ministry of Agriculture, Forestry, and Fisheries of Japan warned that excessive intake of alcohol and caffeine can lead to poisoning and death, so they urge everyone not to drink this way. News Report 12. The Taipei District Prosecutor's Office in Taiwan announced on May 17 that it is prosecuting artist Huang Zijiao. Taiwanese artist Huang Zijiao was exposed last year for sexual harassment and filming inappropriate photos of minors. After being reported by the public, the police and prosecutors searched and seized 7 videos of sexual acts involving minors that he had purchased. The Taipei District Prosecutor's Office charged him with possession of juvenile sexual images without proper reason, and gave him a suspended prosecution of 2 years, which sparked criticism from all sectors, believing that the prosecutors were lenient. The Taipei District Prosecutor's Office previously believed that Huang Zijiao had confessed to his crimes and voluntarily abandoned the hard drive, without disseminating or selling sexual images. Therefore, the prosecution on April 3 this year sentenced Huang Zijiao to a suspended prosecution of 2 years, a fine of 1.2 million new Taiwan dollars, and writing a 1,200-word letter of repentance as punishment. The suspended prosecution decision by the prosecution in the first instance sparked public outrage. Under public pressure, the prosecution re-evaluated the case.